Going to question number 5 now. We always start with the prompt, which here is asking us, how would the writers of text 2 respond to the conventional wisdom in text 1? So let's understand text 1 so we can then think about how text 2 would have responded. So text 1 says, conventional wisdom long held that human systems evolved in stages, beginning with hunter-gatherers, forming small bands of members with roughly equal status. The shift to agriculture sparked population growth that led to the emergence of groups with hierarchical structures, associations of clans first, then chiefdoms, and finally, bureaucratic states. So the conventional wisdom here is that human social systems evolved in stages. Looking at text 2 now, what does text 2 have to say about that? In a book, this anthropologist maintains that humans have always been socially flexible, forming systems based on hierarchy and collective ones with decentralized leadership. The authors point to evidence that as far back as 50,000 years ago, some hunter-gatherers adjusted their social structures seasonally, at times dispersing in small groups, but also assembling into communities that included esteemed individuals. So in text 1, we're seeing the idea that society kind of was gradually moving upward into a more and more organized shape, starting with clans, then chiefs, then bureaucratic states. But in text 2, we're seeing an alternate formation of systems, um, alternating between hierarchy and collective groups with decentralized leadership. So if the first one is a staircase going up toward more organized leadership, the second one is talking about a situation where it's maybe more organized and then not as organized and then more organized again and not as organized. So as opposed to this constant upward movement, kind of a random back and forth in text 2. So let's see what the answers would say about what text 2 would say in response to text 1. So A says, by conceding the importance of hierarchical systems but asserting greater significance, well, it wasn't about whether they were important or not. It was about how did things actually happen. So we can get rid of A. B, by disputing the idea that developments in social structures have followed a linear progression. I like that one because this is something that can be considered a linear progression. It was steadily on its way in one direction in text 1. And text 2 did dispute that idea. Going to C, by acknowledging that hierarchical roles likely weren't a part of social systems before the rise of agriculture. I don't really think it was a matter of whether or not it happened before agriculture. I think it was just a commentary on what was happening overall. So I think we can get rid of C based on that. And D, by challenging the assumption that groupings of hunter-gatherers were among the earliest forms of social structure. Well, I don't think that text 2 would challenge the assumption that hunter-gatherers were some of the earliest social structure because I actually see text 2 saying that hunter-gatherers were some of the earlier forms of social structure. So the answer here is B.